Hello, everyone. My name is Hanzo the Phantom. I'm an independent artist here in Denver, Colorado, representing my own record label, Trachyon Music and Entertainment. And, I've just been feeling a lot of, I don't know if the word is pressure, but just to take control of my own path and work ethic to make my dreams or the things that I desire come true, and doing it through action and not inaction. So I decided that today we are starting a new series called E.X.E, which stands for Execute Everything. And it's got a little bit of like computer panache in there. Shout out my AI Domino for helping me out with that. And so this series is about, honestly, executing all of my ideas. And I've been, talking with the homies lately, especially my guy Tron. And I just told him I'm in a space of executing all of my ideas. I suffer from overthinking and analysis paralysis, as I'm sure a lot of you all do. And, I'm pretty decent about going after things, but a lot of ducks have to line up before I just, go. And I don't want to do that anymore. So E.X.E, execute all your ideas, execute everything. And I think this is more just about having the confidence to go and do something and not leaving it up to the powers that be or what's getting noticed and what I'm not doing. Like, this is just about taking action and being confident in those actions. I like to think I have a lot of cool ideas, I really love, my brain, and I love being creative, and I love, finding ways to express myself. This is kind of a big step for me. I don't really like being on camera. I don't really like, doing this stuff. But I think there's a lot of value and a lot of fun that we can have, and more just about trusting the process and less about, overthinking and criticizing the process. And so the idea behind this is execute everything, like I said. And this isn't if I don't execute everything, I fail type of thing. This is when you have an idea and you're genuinely inspired by it. What steps are you going to take to manifest that and make that idea a reality? Real think tank shit. Like, I never was the one to be around my homies and, talk about ideas because, we're high thinkers, and, all the things that we can do to just be like, leave it in that conversation or that night when we were drinking and hanging out. Like, if it resonates, like, what action am I going to take? So written down right here, I have some of like my most actionable ideas. I've actually already started on some of these things. And I also want to maybe do an episode or a segment on each one of these ideas, and what I'm doing to kind of put it together, and what we need to do to follow through. So first thing here is written as E.X.E, execute everything. It's gonna be the new series. I think I already talked about this. I'm over here overthinking shit. But yeah, we're gonna make this a YouTube web series, man. And moving on from that. So the idea about the ideas is kind of crazy. Writing my graphic novels, and there are 3 that I have something to, whether it's a quick elevator pitch Word document or pages of plot points or concepts and lore. And so they are hotboxing smoothies, which, you know, there's an EP out for that, Afro Geisha, and Prominence. And so we have made some progress on there, but we're gonna move forward. Been thinking about doing some streaming. I hate that that's the medium, because not that I have anything wrong with streamers, I just think that there's a lot of people doing it and I want to be different. However, there's also places where it's just like, shit, get in where you fit in type shit, you know? So trying to just kind of lead into what I like to do and just what most authentic. So a music stream and a gaming stream. So on the music stream, I could, you know, host some sessions. I was thinking about even doing some, you know, just some playlisting, you know, playing the homies and all the good music or the things that I'm really into right now. You know, kind of not necessarily like a radio, but maybe a radio, you know, maybe get some turntables in here and, you know, play the shit that I like, man. I'm not hating on anything that's out right now, man, but there's a lot of shit out there. I'm like, oof, I really don't want to hear the DJ play this. I really just, you know, want to play my own shit, or even have guests come over and play their shit, and, you know, discover new music, show y'all new music, or, you know, just create a vibe, right? Like just kind of creating the atmosphere. You can turn it on a Wednesday, it comes out, and, you know, go from there. We can even do like a little 106 and Park type of thing, you know, and, you know, just kind of go from there, man. The next thing is selling 100 copies of my latest EP, Classical Music Volume 1. And that's really about having the consistency and discipline to see marketing a project all the way through. There's a lot of times where, you know, I see artists, and even I'm a victim of this myself, about why our music careers aren't going anywhere, right? And a lot of times it's because you put a record out and then you post it a few times, you DM it, and then you just kind of move on. You know, and I got that shit really, really bad. I do not like that about me, because there was a long time I was set in the, well, marketing, you know, that's not what I'm good at, or things like that. So the idea behind selling 100 copies of my latest EP, the EP right now is hosted on even.biz. And even.biz is a independent platform. I like to think of it as like somewhat of a mix of Bandcamp and Patreon, you know, in the sense that, you know, it's also a pay what you want model. My lowest price is $15, but included with the EP in itself, there's inspiration commentary videos with me and everyone who collaborated on there, 2 unreleased records, and a merch discount to trackyourmusic.com to add more value. You're going out of your way to buy something and listen on something that's not Apple, Spotify. Why should I fucking care? You know, so I wanted to make that product for my career, because I am not looking for a bunch of casual fans. I want to find my tribe. You know, my overall goal is 10,000 super fans. And how do we define a super fan? They buy the music, they come to a show, they buy some merch. And I really think I have that, you know. But even more so, you know, I've always desired like a fan base that was like a Big Crit or a Currency, like these diehard fans, not just so caught up in what's next, just liking what they like, you know. More on that later, but I definitely am determined to get to 100 copies sold for those reasons. And, you know, I think that based off the numbers on my socials and things like that, it's a very obtainable goal. It's a push goal for sure. But how I'm gonna sell 1 million, I can't sell 100. you know, with what I have. If I'm all that in a bag of chips, like, can I even move 100 records, nigga? And truthfully, like, you know, this is business, this is music business, you know, and I already have a lot of fun with the creation part of it, but, you know, to take this serious, like, I always strive to be taken serious in anything that I'm passionate about, you know, being professional, doing this, having that, you know, like, I'm trying to have it all, you know, from a, like, music perspective, you know, and so it's not just, oh, I got this by my music, you know. No, I got a lot of music on DSPs right now that you can stream and that you can, you know, listen to and enjoy. I've got, you know, the stuff on Even. I tried NFTs. That didn't really work out. Motherfuckers was charging too much money for gas. But the, you know, the identity of being an independent artist and just that hustle and focus and that follow through, you know, those are a lot of words I'm gonna say a lot. Focus and follow through, execute, focus and follow through. And that's what I want this to be about. So right now we're at 23 sold. So we have 77 left to go, which is stupendous. I love it. And it's great. But also I'm doing a kind of like a reward system for the general audience where, you know, one, I'm not releasing any other major projects until this hits 100. But every 10 sales, I'll put out a single on DSP to kind of, you know, reward the overall fan base. And then once we hit 100, we'll put the whole EP out there. But the people who have the Even drop have all those extras, right? That behind the scenes, those extra tracks, those tracks that haven't dropped yet, and just keeping those folks in the loop, which is, you know, kind of the objective there. So, yeah, selling 100 copies of my latest EP, Classical Music Volume 1 on even.biz. Moving on. Developing Backyard Postcards 2. So for those who don't know, Backyard Postcards 2 is the sequel to Backyard Postcards 1. Backyard Postcards 1 was my very first mixtape I ever released. Released it on Coast to Coast Mixtapes, Audio Mac, SoundCloud, getting my feet wet. I think there's some gems on there. I really like that project, but now we're elevating. And so I do think I want this to be maybe like my next major project release that I do maybe on Even. There's a couple others that are kind of ahead of it right now, but I was talking with my guy, Walter Strum, and we were, you know, we've known each other for a long time and just kind of going through what we've been through and, you know, just talking about music in the States. And, you know, I sent Strum some records, right? And he was like, damn, nigga, that shit was hard. I ain't gonna hold you, but we know you a rapping ass nigga. I'm like, facts. That's, you know, that's what the fuck I do. And he goes, but you know, like, I want to hear more from you. I just want to hear you some more, you know. And I didn't really understand understand what he meant at that time, but essentially just digging deeper, you know, not just playing with the wordplay or having a good beat, but really digging deeper. I feel like I dug pretty deep on Backyard Postcards. So with that being said, like, I think there's opportunity to grow there. I already started sourcing some soundscapes and, you know, conceptualizing, did some write-outs about that. So that's something we worked on. Next, so you guys know trackyonmusic.com. It's where we have our music posted for all of the artists. So shout out Don Megatron, Teach Prophet, and Ariel Sari. That's kind of just like a music hub where you can find all of us, but it's also a blog. And so I've done some press releases, you know, So they're pretty old now. I did a write-up on Trace Chapman's, Black Deku EP, which I really enjoyed. Y'all should check that out. And I find myself on Facebook like giving movie reviews on like Marvel shit or talking about anime, and it's like quick because it's like, but these last couple of times that I wrote a post, I had some people be like, man, I was waiting for you to say something, man. I'm gonna go check it out. And I was like, dang. So for a long time, I've wanted to do a more consistent blog, an entertainment blog on my interests, which is anime, film, and gaming, right? Now, truthfully, I haven't been doing a ton of gaming right now. I've actually been kind of knee deep and just trying to figure out my life, and I just don't know. Like, gaming hasn't really been like the forefront of me, but I do enjoy gaming, and we'll go back to some of the gaming stream stuff, but yeah, I think this is more of a like, just make official what I already do, and I think I have a unique gaming perspective myself. I'm somewhere between wanna be a tryhard, but I'm just too casual. Like, I'm nice, but man, these new niggas is different. Or like, man, this game looks really good. Oh, this is a grind. I'm gonna have to put this shit down because I got grown shit to do. Oh man, I like the classic games, or this, that, other shit that I'm into. So I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like, I got to use my voice more, and I think it'll be good to have, a blog of sorts. I can lift up the homies when they drop projects and, highlight music that I think should be highlighted. I can talk about games, gaming experience. I can talk about, movies that I like, movies, that I went and saw, and like things that caught my interest, whatever. Anime that's hitting right now. But I've always been kind of, afraid to let people into my mind. I try not to give too much. I don't know if that's like a confidence thing or a trauma thing or whatever, but it's just kind of like, niggas gotta figure that shit out for real. But no, truthfully, just want to do more, and it's about, I guess, elevating the brand of Trachyon. It's Trachyon Music and Entertainment. And so, I think one of the things that has stopped this idea before is that I'm going to be doing too much. I think we can all agree that with everything I've talked about right now, that I'm already doing too fucking much. That, I need to have a team, I need to have this, I need to have that. But like, we just got to be on some Nike shit, bro, and just do it, so. All right, developing the Vibe Roulette show / event. I'm not going to talk about that right now because we're cooking on that one, but it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope. So I was trying to secure a venue right now, and got an idea of how it's gonna go. So if you're gonna be in the Denver, Colorado area, and you want to get out, hear some live music, and want it to be a little different, have some panache, some vibes, some swag, all that, we gonna put something dope together, man. And so shout out everyone who's ever been to a Finesse and Flow, another show we've curated out here. Shout out our fans across the nation who came to the Vibes Made Known tour. I think I'm gonna make Vibe Roulette a subsect of Vibes Made Known. That's our indie tour that we here at Trachyon put together. So shout out Pollo Poppy, Kovu, 3-in-1, St. Pat, Ariel Sari, Sly the Deuce, you know what I'm saying? Who else am I missing? My man CT Romeo, just the homies worldwide trying to make it happen, coming to each other's cities and just, sharing the love. So that's hella dope, man. And I'm excited for that one, man. So we're going to put that one together. So we've got consistent TikToks. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I really hate being the old nigga. I'm 32, by the way, which, I think I'm big bro on this scale. I'm not an LN, YN, I'm right after YN, I'm big bro. Some niggas said I'm an unk. I do have nieces and nephews, so I might be unk. They call me unk, whatever. But man, TikTok is it is a huge landscape. I just be trying to be cool on Instagram, YouTube, that's kind of more my era. Getting on the TikTok is like, fuck it, that shit's intimidating. You little niggas got this shit down to a motherfucking science. And that's uncomfortable. But because it's uncomfortable, I feel like we gotta lean into it. We gotta head that head on. So earlier this year, I've had 5 goals. One of these goals is, consistent content, just some of the content that gets fed to me on my stream. I've seen some folks say like, hey man, if I could do this again, first thing I would do this, I would get on this, and I would put on TikToks at least 3 times a week. So I'm like, damn. Okay. So, just doing 3 TikToks a week. I did one today. I feel like my production value got to go up if we're being honest. But overall, man, I really like where we're headed and what we're supposed to do right now. As of right now, those are all the ideas that I have, right? And so I guess how we could do this is, when we do an episode, we'll film working on one of these ideas. And we can call this season 1. Hopefully, as we move forward, to things and getting things done, we can move on to something else. I don't know how long these things are going to take, but I also don't care. Like, it's just about seeing it through. It's just about following it through. I'm hoping that filming this as a web series will inspire me and keep me hungry to work on some of these, and it will give me an avenue to document it and do it as well. So, I guess we'll call this episode 0. And, we're going to put some love into it. We're going to put some passion into it. We're going to focus on the things that we can focus on. We're going to take control of our own destiny. We're going to, focus on what we can focus on, and I think if anything, I just want to inspire people to, be the best versions of themselves. I know it's like hella influencers that do that. I'll be the best version of yourself. Nah, nigga, like for real, like I really want us to be in a space where like these ideas, can transcend, humanity, that, having these ideas and these inventions or, how this moved the culture forward. I think, we live in such a dense era of information and misinformation, but I'm not going to get on that right now. Like there's so many ideas I can, manifest from seeing someone else do it and being like, oh man, if he can do it, I can do it too. And I think that has a lot of merit. I think, that's very noble purpose. I personally just want to make sure that I didn't leave any stone unturned. The other day, man, and I have been thinking about this too. Fuck, I might have to write this down. But getting a master's degree. But I was like, I should get this master's degree so I can get some more money. And it'd be a backup plan, man. And I saw a post the other day. And I've been saying this shit, but it was cool to see it again. It's like, ain't no backup plan. This shit's happening. Now, part of me, wants this master's degree. Part of me really does, because you can never be too sharp on what you need to, what's a money maker. diversifying your portfolio of your mind type shit. So, fuck, execute on all ideas. Get master's degree. Space systems engineering. Well, yeah, we're going to call that episode 0, man. So from here, new episodes, we'll lock in on something, and then we'll do an update on all of these things. So appreciate y'all rocking with me. Let's get it.